Hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm back with another video, this time more Transformers. This is 40 years of Transformers. This is the comic book edition of essentially Grimlock. I've already gotten the Shockwave. I did do a video on that one, but this is pretty cool. I love the artwork. So similarly to that Shockwave, this is based on the comic. So you've got this cool little artwork here on the outside. Over here on the right, you got some more artwork. You got, looks like Megatron beating up Snarl and the Dinobots there. You've got Optimus's head over here and a bunch of different things going on. Same thing here. And then over here on the side, you've got the panel that connects to the Shockwave box. I'm going to show you that as well. And over here, you've got the product shots, right? You've got Grimlock in Dino mode, Grimlock in his robot mode with all the swords. So if you've got this guy and the swoop that recently came out from Studio Series, you should now have all the swords for all the Dinobots. And of course you got more artwork right here on the back, and this has Velcro, so it does open up here just really carefully. And you've got the no plastic, but you do have Grimlock there in his comic book colors. You get his gun. Looks like you get about 3 different swords there. And he's got a crown somewhere, which I'm assuming is somewhere in the back. I'm going to open this up. You've got a bit of a blurb there on Grimlock and how he leads the team. You got more artwork here. One thing I did note is that there was a sheet of tissue paper covering this. I'm assuming it was done to try to avoid any kind of paint rub or scratching. And then I also noticed that there is a big, at least on mine, there's a big, looks like tape here. I'm assuming again that was done to avoid any rubbing. So overall packaging is really cool. So I'm gonna get this guy here out of his cardboard prison and show you guys what this Grimlock's all about. And before we move on to the figure here, I want to show you guys how these two boxes sort of connect. So this is the Shockwave box here, and you guys could put them together side by side to sort of form that image, which is pretty cool. I know I have Straxus on pre-order. I don't know if it'll connect, and I know there's another two that I don't have, but again, this is what these two packages look like together next to each other. I don't believe anything else comes out of here, but yeah, that is pretty much what you will get when you connect these two. So we have Mr. Grimlock here outside of the box. I figure first we can go over the accessories or everything that you do get in the box. Of course, just like every Transformer figure, you get the instructions, right? This is older mold. It's been out for a while, so the transformation is the same. If you have the Studio Series, the Shattered Glass version, pretty much the same toy. This just has additional accessories. So instructions, you can read them at your own leisure. We'll put those out of the way. Of course, you got Grimlock standing there, pretty awesome. You do get his gun here. It's done in this lighter gray plastic. It looks like it's blue plastic that's been painted over, because you've got some the slot here for him to hold a gun. You've got some additional blue here. I believe these slots are to be able to attach the gun to his back. A bit of a storage. And overall, nothing too bad. Again, some nice detail here on this gray gun. The gun itself looks awesome. I mean, it looked awesome on the Studio Series 86 figure and on the Shattered Glass version. So again, some nice detailing. This is going more for the comic book look, which I think definitely, I think they've done a pretty good job. Again, just a lighter, more matte, I would say, silver than the Studio Series 86 Grimlock. But that's a gun. You also do get his crown, which again is pretty much, I guess, a comic accessory. But again, it's really well done. I believe the Masterpiece figure came with a crown. It's been a while since I've handled that figure, but I believe that one came with a crown as well. But again, this is nice. It's red plastic that's been painted over in gold, and I think it does the part really well. And this can go attached on his head. It's kind of matched, so you know this is the front, so he can put that on and be King Grimlock. As you could see there, it fits in really well, no problem. It's nice and tight. So yeah, pretty cool. The other accessories that you do get is he gets 3 swords. So these are really cool. I don't know if you could see there some of the detailing there. A lot of line work on the weapons on both sides, so they're not plain by any means. They're like a darker red. What I did note, and I guess I was a bit disappointed, is these are soft rubber. They are not hard plastic, so they are pretty bendable. And at least one of mine is a bit warped. I don't know if you could see it there, so I'm gonna have to maybe apply some heat to it to get it to be straight. But other than that, the detail is there, is done really well. That's really cool. He can hold 2 of these instructions in the box, kind of show you, like, you know, you can stick these in his hand and have them hold almost like a staff if you want to do it like this, and then the other sword in his hand. What's really cool, I guess, is, you know, you get 3 in this pack, and if you had access to the Studio Series 86 Swoop figure that recently came out, he came with 2 swords. So in total now you have 5. Between the comic Grimlock and the 86 Swoop, you have 5 swords in total, which means you have a sword for each Dinobot at this point, if that's your thing, all in red. I do prefer the swords that came with Swoop. Just the red is slightly different. These right here on my left hand are the Swoop, the swords that came with Swoop. They're like a bit of a brighter red versus the more darker, I guess, crimson shade of the comic book Grimlock swords. And the Swoop swords here are harder plastic. So these, you know, you can bend them, but they're more, you know, solid. I do prefer these to the swords that come here with comic Grimlock. They're not bad. I was expecting them to be more solid. As you could see, you can easily bend these. So yeah, so that's it for the accessories, and let's move on to the main guy here, which is of course Grimlock. And again, awesome figure. This was an awesome mold to begin with. So my only issues I had around it were some of the looseness in some of the joints with my Studio 86 Grimlock. This one, I'm happy to report, at least my version here doesn't have any loose joints. My original Studio 86 Grimlock, the wings here were pretty floppy. In this case, again, they're stiff, they stand in place really well, so that's really cool. And yeah, if you like that figure, you will like this one. Starting off here, again, this is comic book based, so you've got things here like the blue head, which in my opinion is done really well. Just bring that in a little closer so you could see that. Love the nice bright blue along with the red eyes. Then you've got here the whole yellow chest with, you got the line work here to simulate the comic look, you know, the cross hatching or whatever you want to call it here and here. And you also saw this on Shockwave. You have like a little dots all over the place. Again, that's to simulate the comic book art. This section here is a chest plate. I believe this can come off. It's really stiff in mine, so I don't know if they've glued it in place. I will not be messing with it, but this can come off. You just got to put some force behind it. I haven't really had a chance quite yet to mess with it too much, but it's a nice bright yellow plastic with the red Autobot insignia. There is some mismatching. I mean, it doesn't look too terrible. Like the yellow on the whole chest area, torso area is, I want to say, slightly matte in comparison to the chest here, but it's nothing too egregious or terrible. Then moving on down here, you've got more yellow and black, which again, it's really cool. You've got the red waist piece, again, to simulate the comic book look. And then before we move on down, the arms, of course, the massive arms of Grimlock. This is a bit of a more muted silver in comparison, I guess, to the Studio Series. But you got, of course, black accents here to simulate the comic book look. Again, more line work and black accents here on the arms, on the forearms. Same thing on this side. You'll see him here on the side, and of course you've got your yellow claws for the Dino mode, and his hands here that do rotate. They don't open, so there's no pointy fingers or anything. They're just permanently stuck like that, which is what the 86 Grimlock also had. And then as we move on down here, you've got more blue, which again is really well done. The colors are on point on this guy. They look really great. And you come on down to the legs here, you got more of that gray with these black accents to simulate the comic book look. And you've got them pretty much in a bunch of different places, like right here you've got the line work. And then as we move on back, you've got this glorious backpack. I think Grimlock's probably one of the few that I love, his backpack here. But you've got the side panels here in the same gray as the rest of the body with some black accents. You will see here the Dino head, which is kind of nice and pinned in there. It doesn't move. My copy, I believe the neck was a little flappy, so but I'm glad this one's a bit more stable than that one. And again, you've got some line work here, which I'll show you in the Dino mode on the neck. Same thing on the head here, but again, this is really well done. And his arms, again, not too much articulation, but what's there, it's done really well. But again, I'm very happy that these, at least on mine, are not flappy like they were on my Studio Series 86 Grimlock. And then going on the back, again, you got the same colors as the front. You know, you got the red waist piece, the blue legs, followed by the whole big gray honking feet that he always has. Very fitting of Grimlock nonetheless. And I gotta say, I'm pretty taken aback by this color choice. I think it's done really well. Again, I have read the old Marvel Comics Transformers, so it's nice to see Grimlock here in these colors. And it's nice for folks who perhaps were unable to get the original Studio 86 or maybe even the Shatterglass Grimlock. They now have access to this, because I really do think this is a really nice mold and a really nice figure. Articulation wise, you get the same articulation as you did with Studio Series 86, so his head can turn fully around. He can look up, not too much. He can probably look down, but you see it isn't a hinge for the transformation, so you can make him look down a little more. The waist here, fully, you can turn this whole thing around no problem, and it's nice and stable, which is nice. The arms here, you know, if you move I call them wings, but if you move those side panels, this rotates. You've got some bicep here, you've got your elbow, which doesn't fully go, you know, it's not double jointed or anything, but you can get a little bit past 90 there. As I mentioned earlier, the hands here can turn, so you can do that. You can kick, well, I would say that's pretty decent. And then you've got your 90, just about 90-degree articulation, and you've got your ankle rotate tilt here, which is pretty generous there. And you've got your thigh here that you can turn the leg fully around. So again, same articulation as the OG 86 Grimlock, but again, you know, in comic book colors and with those additional comic book details. And as you saw, his Dino panels here, or wings as I'm going to call them, you can, you know, pose them as you wish to your heart's content, or you can put them all the way back if you wanted to, like this, or if you wanted to put them up high. So they are articulated there as well, depending on how you want to pose this guy. But this guy's awesome. Again, if you have the Studio Series 86, this is more of that, just in a different color, and maybe even with some slight improvements as far as the tightness around some of the joints, at least in my copy. Transformation, pretty much the same thing as the Studio Series figure, so nothing different there. But what you do end up with is a slightly different version than that figure in comic book colors. Of course, continuing the comic book theme here, you could see here the black details, the line work, etc. through here, through the neck in the yellow. You've got his red eyes, and then you'll also continue to see here, you'll see it on these panels, these dots, and same thing here on the neck. Again, that's to give it that comic book like paint job on this guy. No Autobot insignia, so it's all nice and plain gray. there. And then as you look onto the side here, you got some more details again from the robot mode, the black shadowing on line work, and then same thing here. These are essentially his arms that are now the Dino legs, and you got the same black line work here. Same thing here on the tail. These are the parts that are essentially the feet, so you get more black line work there, and same thing down here by the tail. And then of course you've got the chest, which is now the lower I guess stomach section now, or abdomen, whatever you want to call it. Again, you got the same thing as I mentioned earlier. This panel here looks like it can be removed, but you'll have to use some force. I'm not going to mess with mine, so I'm just going to leave it as is. Again, you get the same detailing you did in robot mode. Most of the blue is kind of hidden away. You can see it here. The feet are sort of now where the fists are kind of hiding in place there in the blue, and you've got some blue here kind of peeking out. That is the part of the torso there. But overall, again, you get the same great Dino mode. If you like that Studio Series or the Shatterglass figure, it's more of the same, just with the little comic book details. Again, you could see more of the, I don't know if the camera could catch it, but more of that little dot work, again, to give it that comic book look here on both sides where my thumbs are at. So overall, really cool. I love this Dino mode. I have no complaints from it. You get the same sort of articulation here. The neck can fully turn around. He can look up, he can look down. That's about it. His mouth can open, and in there, if you look, you've got that nice blue port for the fire effects, or flame effects, whatever you want to call them. I guess one rather minor nitpick for me, and this was the same thing with the Studio Series figure, is he's got no front teeth. And I believe they did make a kit for the Studio Series figure where you could add some front teeth if that's your thing. So he is missing the front teeth there. Doesn't bother me too much, but again, it's a thing. And then moving on down here to the legs, which are essentially the arms, you're going to get pretty much the same articulations. If you want Grimlock to do some splits, there you go, and spin on his belly, he can do that. And you've got the, again, what was the bicep articulation, right? You got that extra joint there, which allows you to turn the legs. The I guess I'm going to call these his claws here. You can articulate them as well, but I don't really mess with them that much. The tail's kind of fixed in place, but yeah, but that's it. Overall, this is what you do get with this figure here. And you know what? I love it. I love the whole comic book aesthetic. If you want to compare him to, let's say here I have the Studio Series 86 figure, probably side by side, exact same figure, just slightly different colors. As I said, the gray on the comic book version here is a little brighter than the gray here on the Studio Series figure, and of course you got more of the gold accents, the red, which this guy does not have. You got probably here on the back, you've got the line work, you got the dot work here to simulate the comic book style, whereas this guy's got those nice green, red, and teal or blue accents, and black as well. And yeah, but overall, it's pretty much the exact same robot mode. Again, this one has the Autobot symbol, this one does not. And you could see in the belly here, you've got this smoke panel here where you can see the Autobot symbol through, whereas this guy is just a yellow panel with the painted on Autobot symbol. But overall, if you got this one, then you know what you're getting here. You're just getting different colors. But again, I'm a pretty huge Grimlock fan, so I think these are pretty cool. And then if you want to compare him to the Shatterglass, which is right here, I also do have. Again, it's just minor color differences there. As far as the figure itself, this is more of a Triptychon style look for Shatterglass Grimlock versus the comic book style here that you guys could see. Again, you could see the difference in the colors. Shatterglass is so awesome. I love these orange and purple accents. It's like a little Triptychon, and of course you see it there. Really cool. As I mentioned, I think the gun that comes with Grimlock, the way that I have it attached here on Shatterglass Grimlock, you could do the same thing on the comic book version. That's what these two little blue things are for. You kind of just tab them in there, and the gun kind of you can use it as storage. I probably won't be doing that on the comic book version, but that's what you could do here with that gun. But again, just wanted to show them so you could see them together, see what these two guys look like. And we'll move Shatterglass out of the way. And why not? I had MPO 8, I believe this guy is. He is a little bigger than the Studio Series figure, but just want to show them together because, of course, I still think this is an awesome masterpiece figure. Of course, I think it needs to be updated by this point. It needs to be made bigger. But clearly, you know, this toy was inspiration for this mold, or for Studio Series anyway. But you guys could see the differences in, you know, and similarities there in these two figures. But that's the extent of the Dino. Liking this comic edition Grimlock here. I think is a worthy addition to anyone's collection. I personally, for me, again, as I said, I'm a huge fan of the Dinobots and a huge fan of Grimlock. And definitely the comic book aesthetic here, I think, has been done really, really well. The colors, the yellow, blue, and red, you know, you wouldn't think they match up pretty well, but I think in this instance, again, if you're looking for a comic book Grimlock, this will definitely fit the bill. I think everything kind of falls in place really, really well. I'd really no complaints other than I said the hollowness on the forearms here, that I wish they could have done some kind of cover, but considering the original mold didn't have that, you know, I'm not going to count that against it. Personally, I definitely think this is a worthy figure. One of the things that I ran into that I noticed rather as I was transforming this guy, I don't know if you could tell, but there's a bit of a red paint. I don't know if it's like a little overspray or whatever it may be, so I may need to work on getting that off of there. But otherwise, yeah, definitely love this thing. Would definitely recommend it. Again, I think it's awesome that they decided to give us these additional swords. So again, if you are looking for additional weapons for your other Dinobots, this guy definitely comes with them. Now, it's rather unfortunate that these are softer plastic, and also you know, it's slightly different red hue than the ones that come with Swoop here, but you can make do. I think they could fit really well. Of course, you do get his gun and crown, which I think go really well with this figure. So overall, pretty happy with it. So as we wrap this up, let's go ahead and do some comparisons here. Let's just start off here with some Studio Series. This is Blur and Perceptor. Now again, whole different aesthetic. These are more cartoon or movie based on the '86 movie, whereas this is more comic. I think that could definitely, fit in really well from my perspective. So again, I definitely think that works for me. Then we will do some G1 here. Let's do some of the tiny guys. Had a Beachcomber here, and this is the Busworthy. I think at that point Busworthy Cliff Jumper, which is technically a Studio Series '86 figure, but I think that looks really cool. The blue is definitely different kind of shade than Beachcomber here. This is more of a, I want to say like a brighter blue, but again, I think that looks really cool. So we'll move that out of the way. Move Beachcomber out of here. And then let's do some Decepticons. So here he is next to Legacy Cyclonus. And let's mix him in with a Autobot here. This is the Siege Springer. And I do have the Studio Series '86 figure here that I'm gonna be hopefully getting to pretty soon. But again, just want to show you what those two look like next to Grimlock there. So we'll move them out of the way. And then let's compare him next to the other comic edition figure that I have in my collection. This is the Shockwave. This is again the Siege mold that was recolored into the whole comic book look, similarly here to Grimlock. So again, they look pretty cool together. I think the whole black line and cross hatching aesthetic works really well on both of these figures here. All right, so we'll move Shockwave here out of the way. Let's do, here he is next to Optimus. Of course, you got to do some comparison against Optimus Prime. So I think that could definitely work for me. Again, this is Earthrise Prime, so maybe not so much same look as the comic book edition Grimlock here, but they could definitely work together. And then lastly, I had here, let's see if I can get this guy in the frame. Probably won't, but this is the Legacy Menasor. Just trying to give you guys a better look there. And size-wise, of course, no comparison there, but just kind of figure I'd show you what those two look like together there. Maybe that's a better look. There we go. And then let's do comparison next to the Studio Series 86 Grimlock. Again, they look pretty cool. Both of them together, if you're going for a whole Grimlock collection, I think this could definitely work. Again, you've got your more, I guess, Studio Series, a more cartoon accurate, movie accurate, versus the more comic book accurate. But I think they definitely looked the part. This mold was just always really awesome in my book. So there we go. We'll move Studio Series out of the way, and let's bring in the Shatter Glass. Again, awesome looking. Love Shatter Glass there. Whole different look for both of them, but again, this mold is just awesome. I think regardless of whatever color or repaint they give us, I think they all look really cool. So we'll move him out of the way. And then lastly, I had the MP08, so the Masterpiece here. So I decided to transform him so you guys could see the difference or similarities there. The Masterpiece figure is a slightly bigger and taller. It has diecast in it. It's a pretty older figure by now, but obviously this takes its inspiration from the Masterpiece. But I do tend to prefer the proportions of this guy. I think the legs on the Studio Series, or in this comic version anyway, are a lot better proportion than on the Masterpiece. But again, just want to show them both together so you guys could see them. And that's pretty much it, guys. So let me know if I missed anything, if you guys have any questions. But overall, I'm definitely really liking this whole comic aesthetic thing that they're going with, whether it's for Grimlock, for Shockwave, or for I think Straxus is next, and I think they have a couple of other Marvel UK figures. But overall, I mean, this Grimlock, I would definitely recommend it. I think it's a great figure. And that's it. Thank you so much if you made it to the end of the video. I really appreciate it, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.